I'm in a new house. Now tell me, whose idea was it to combine this and this? I don't know. It was freaking crap, yo. Before I start this episode, let me just say this. If you, the audience member, want to call me out for watching this show, first of all, I just want to talk about the game because I think it'd make a good episode. Second of all, if you're an adult, you're probably not one to talk considering you probably watched the show when you were a kid too. And if you're a child, shut up. I've been planning to make this episode on this game since I started, and it's taken me a year to do it. Now, if you don't know what the show is, let me explain it super fast so you can't really understand what I'm saying, but I technically explained it for you. I'm not exactly an expert on this show, but whatever, I don't really care. So in 1998, people loved this show, so Acclaim and Comedy Central all wanted to make a game. They didn't. Appaloosa made it, and also Iguana did on the Nintendo 64, but today I'm looking at the PlayStation version because that one's worse. Fine, I'll take a look at the N64 version after. Well, I don't exactly know how you would make a game based off the show, but hey, Ubisoft did it. Good. But guess what? They fucked up. They didn't really have any ideas for games, so what they had to work off of was the Quake 2 engine and have all four of the boys shoot each other with gore. Ooh boy! But then some sort of school shooting happened, so Comedy Central made them change it. And there we go, that's the story of how the South Park video game turned into a first-person shooter where you're throwing snowballs at turkeys. What? I mean, there was also going to be a South Park game on Game Boy that was canceled because they thought that it wouldn't be appropriate for the Game Boy, yet they put out a South Park game on the Nintendo 64. For some reason that game was repurposed into Mary-Kate and Ashley, which just kind of I've noticed that there's a lot of experimentation that comes with game adaptations of this series. There's a first-person shooter, there's a racing game, a trivia game, RPGs, a side-scroller, a tower defense game, a freemium game, and a canceled GTA clone. Alright, enough fluff. Let's just get into this thing. This is freaking South Park on PS1. It begins with logos. Whoa! By the way, Appaloosa was the same company that made that Jaws game on PlayStation 2 and Xbox. We're already in good hands. Then we got an intro. This FMV is like the most murky thing ever. I can barely tell what's happening. And it's probably because of the pixels that I chose to record with on my emulator, because I'm a perfect pixel freak. But tell me that this is good looking. Why is the FMV so freaking bad? There's better FMVs on the PlayStation. Alright, after that amazing intro, we have our story. A big green meteor is flying through the skybox, heading toward the circle that looks like Earth. It's heading right for South Park, Colorado. And that's bad. So I start the game when a third cutscene comes up. Why couldn't all these cutscenes just... Anyway, Mr. Chef Guy comes over in his green car and tells us about the green comet that's coming to the green Earth, and it's gonna infect everyone, including this green kid. Also, I forgot, back in the day of 1990... you weren't allowed having a game say the F word.
Boogie like you better get your asses indoors, children.
So games had to censor the F word. Games did.
Why is it everybody so offensive around here?
Either bring me back me missing coats.
You don't have to shout.
I'm deaf. Speak up.
Oh boy, what games get away with now compared to back then.
Oh shit, dude, I fucking bounce. Fucking asshole. Fuck you, drow elf. Asshole ass. Eat shit, bitch.
Alright, let's actually start playing the Jesus. What am I looking at? Trick question. I'm not looking at anything. It's all white. So we move with the D-pad, we turn with the left and right buttons, and we look up with the triggers. Ew. So what we have to do here is we have to find your friends. You probably wouldn't be able to know that if you listen to the game because, you know, you can't hear them.
Hey, where are those guys?
Do you understand what I said? I don't know. Anyway, we have to walk into all of our friends, which is kind of strange. I guess they're collectible. And while doing that, you have to fend off angry turkeys that are angry because of the comet that's not on Earth yet. That's it. You just throw endless snowballs at endless turkeys walking around this town. There's no variety in the turkeys besides a giant one that poops. Oh god. You just walk around following the linear path. This game's bland gameplay combined with the freaking stupid draw distance makes this game so dull. Just dull. This game came out in 1998. I'm pretty sure PlayStation was able to give out bigger draw distances. Anyway, I'm just throwing snowballs at turkeys and I end up at this fair with people running out. What's up with their feet? I know in the show they don't actually move their legs, they just bounce around.
Yeah, but the animation's all crappy.
But there's a difference between bouncing around and sliding. What is this? This is weird. So I'm just running around throwing snowballs at turkeys, not even realizing that I have a radar. Yeah, what does this radar have anything to do with anything? I don't need it. It doesn't really help with me at all. And wait a minute, why does this kid even have a radar? What does this serve? This is dumb and stupid. Also, just look at these textures. So I just keep on running around throwing snowballs at turkeys. Oh, look at that white. This is whiter than... After like an hour walking around, I get to the finish line! Hooray!
Wait a minute, why is there even a finish line here? Who put this up? This is the turkeys? What reason would the turkeys have to put up a finish line in the middle of nowhere? I thought they were against you. This is a horrible contradiction of logic and I deserve an explanation for this one.
Let's look at the results. Creatures butchered. How do you butcher an animal with a snowball? Alright, time for level 2. It looks like it's the exact same thing. Collect all my friends again. Okay, fine. They're right behind me. What was the point? I guess now's a good time to mention that any other weapons that you find in this game do absolutely nothing different from the snowball. Other than the fact that they're limited and slower. What the and the health system is just there. It's not really gonna do anything. You're not gonna lose any lives or anything. You can heal very quickly with cheesy poofs. Alright, let's go into Chef's Shack of Love. Why is this house out in the middle of nowhere? Alright, let's go in. Oh boy, another murky cutscene. So I'm running around. I come across a gigantic turkey with a butthole that like shoots eggs out. Alright, let's skip all that. It's not really needed. We get to the boss fight and it's basically just big turkey with big health bar.
And also it's disgusting. He has a gigantic pot belly and a target on his butt. I hate this.
And then after you beat that, you get a cutscene where this kid dies. Then they destroy the town. I thought this was the end, but apparently it's not. But it's pretty easy, so meh, whatever.
And then there's another freaking boss.
Then they have a turkey dinner, happily ever after, except there's more of the game, which I don't like. It's these genetic clone things that are the next enemies. Honestly, I don't care, so I just stopped playing. Forever. Okay, you know what? Let's go through the beginning of the game again. But instead of just poo-pooing over all the details, let me just go super analysis-y about this game and not just act like a gigantic idiot. You run around throwing snowballs at turkeys, they have no semblance of strategy, and you have infinite ammo. Thus, there's barely any challenge. Because you have such a high health pool, you never have to worry about dying. So all of the game is running around this snowy forest, holding down the fire button, throwing snowballs at turkeys that pose no threat because you don't need strategy to beat them. This game is boring, and there's no other way to put it besides boring. I went all analytical with you, time to go back to the funny, if you can consider my commentary funny. This PlayStation 1 game is a disgrace. Okay, that's a little bit too far, but it's a failure of what it tries to do. I guess the final thing to talk about here are the visuals, but really, what's the point? It's South Park. What do you want me to critique the cardboard cutout style in 3D? Actually, yeah, it does look a little bit ugly. But I'm not complaining about it because that's the entire point. It's intentionally designed to look like crap. That's the entire joke. I guess what I could complain about are these crappy textures, and I don't know if it's the game or my emulator, but these spots here kind of annoy me. And also, the draw distance is less than favorable, but I've already droned on about that for far too long. All in all, South Park on PS1 is a dumb, boring game. But seriously though, it really is boring. Do you want me to go into any more detail about it? Why would I? All it is throwing snowballs at turkeys. There's more enemies farther in the game, but by the time I actually got to those enemies, I was ready to stop playing the game forever and go back to playing a good shooter. Clearly going to shooter was not the best idea considering how boring this game is. I don't exactly know how to fix this game though either. There's not really anything that you could do in South Park that would make a shooter work because of the subject matter back then. This game's gameplay just makes too much sense for the rules that are established, but the rules that are established is just dull. I feel like the way this game is made doesn't allow it to have better game design. In Doom, the enemies are dangerous, you have limited ammo, and you have to work around your environment. Plus, there's more than one enemy. There's the standard grunt troop, there's the imps, there's these pink guys, there's the Kako demons, there's everything. There's lots of variety in Doom. Plus, there's environmental hazards like the floor hurting you or explosive barrels that you can accidentally shoot with your gun. Puzzles around the area, armor, strategizing, ammo, plus these 2D enemies instead of 3D models gives it a nice look. And there's all kinds of stuff. It's not boring and it doesn't want to make me shut it off a minute into playing. This game doesn't have any of that, so it's just a boring mess of a video game. Now for the score of the PlayStation version of South Park. I give it an oofa doofa out of 10 because it sucks. I don't want to look up any of the other things that happened in this game because honestly I don't care. It's failed to amuse me. Now as promised, let's take a look at the N64 version. All in all, it's pretty much the exact same game. N64 shooters are very hard to control without the proper controller, so I recorded this footage on an emulator with a rearranged control layout. When I recorded on an emulator, I realized something. The way the N64 controls are laid out on the controller makes sense, but when you actually put it on a real controller, it's pretty much dual analog, except it's swapped. So that means I technically played the game with a southpaw. Haha, isn't that funny considering the name of what I'm reviewing and the name of what two sticks being reversed on a control pad is? I'm a nerd. Okay, I just looked up the definition of southpaw. It is not at all what I just described, but in most games that's what you call two sticks being reversed. What it really is like a boxer or a sports player, but left-handed. Whatever, it's still funny. So if you were left-handed, you'd probably be able to play this game no problem. For me, I had to configure the controls because it's confusing, but that's just because I was using an emulator. So at the time, these controls would have worked a lot better on N64 than on PlayStation. The textures are also pretty good. Carmen doesn't have a beard this time. I can actually hear what they're saying. The cutscenes aren't murky messes. And this game was developed by Iguana Entertainment, which later became Acclaim Studios Austin, and they made Turok 2, Seeds of Evil, and Zero the Kamikaze Squirrel. Who could forget Side Pocket? Yeah. Other than that, it's the exact same boring gameplay, completely crap draw distance, no strategy, infinite ammo. The only real difference here are the aesthetics, so I've had slightly more fun with it, but it's pretty much the PlayStation game, only with a few slight improvements. That's why I think the inherent gameplay of this game is flawed, because even the good version of this game isn't good. I would give this game a side pocket out of 10. There's also a PC version. I would give it I'm getting tired of this out of 10. It's pretty much the exact same game, only with PC style controls. The gameplay is still boring. So, I guess in conclusion, what I'm trying to say is, no matter how you make this game, it's still
you pig fucker!